Hello and welcome back to What Did She Say with your host Chrissy. Who would have thought starting a podcast would have been so hard? Guys, I've recorded like 2 episodes I've had to just throw away. Do you know how that feels? I've had to throw away episodes that I put my heart and soul into because I'm not going to bore you with the details, but technical issues, guys. So yeah, it's very disheartening, but we're back, and happy Tuesday if you're listening to this on release day, and if it's not Tuesday, happy day regardless. Did I already introduce myself? But hi, I'm Chrissy, and welcome to my podcast. If you're a returner, thank you so much for coming back, and if you're new, enjoy the ride, because it's actually really nice here, if I do say so myself. If you are watching this on YouTube, can we just check the space? Can we check the professionalism, the upgrade? We're doing up landscape now. We're not doing portrait recording because I know a lot of people didn't enjoy those bars, those black bars that come up on the screen. Sorry, I'm trying to get like the last bit of cream out of my working hands. O'Keefe, not sponsored, not ad. Because why waste? What else is new? Look at this mic setup. Tell me I'm not a professional. Tell me. And also audio listeners on Spotify, hey. Sorry, can we just appreciate the quality of this sound? Like, are your ears not like gagging? They're like, oh my gosh, this is so good. Yeah, we're gonna have a lot of ASMR moments here. Yeah, it's just like, it's great here. If I do say so myself, we're not gonna be messing around with the mic because look, I'm not even touching it. No hands, no bars. So yeah, it's kind of great here now. But let's get on with the episode because I really don't want to spend too much time yapping for yap's sake. I want to be concise. I want to be professional. I want to get things done. Okay? Guys, today's episode is going to be my testimony. It's going to be a spiritual episode. It's going to be a thought-provoking episode. It's going to be a story time with Chrissy. And we love a story time with Chrissy. Okay? We do. And it's mostly to answer a lot of questions that I get, from people who know me and people who don't. So that just touches all bases, doesn't it? Okay. It's going to be my testimony on my walk with God and why I decided to walk with him so fragrantly and so loudly and so proudly. My walk with God. I think it's interesting to some. Why? Because I was not always preaching the Spirit of God. I was not always reflecting the image of God. Let's just say I wasn't really a person who cared. By the way, let's just say, I'm gonna be saying some really outlandish things because my life has been quite outlandish, and I'm gonna say some things you might not agree with. I am gonna say some things that might not be like textbook or like whatever, but it's my experience, and I just want to be so candid and real because I feel like a lot of people can relate, even if they can't say it out loud themselves. And maybe you don't relate, maybe you just think I'm a psycho, but either way, it's me. Water break. Oh my gosh, okay. I'm so parched today. Very weird. So my context, I was born Coptic Orthodox. If you don't know what that is, I'm actually planning on doing a whole episode around English, please. Around Coptic Orthodoxy, what it is, who we are, our history, our reasonings, our culture, our religion, what we believe in. Because I think it's so rich, and I think it's one of them things that a lot of people don't know about. And I think it'll be good for me because I can do a lot of educating of myself and my own religion, denomination. So that'll be cool. So, if you want to see that, and if you don't, comment below. But I'm probably going to do it. So yeah, I was born and raised Coptic Orthodox. My family are Coptic Orthodox. It's lit. Every single Sunday, I was going to church and I was going to Sunday school. And it's just always what I've known, and it's been my norm. I think the only time I didn't think it was a norm was probably when I was growing up in West London and going to things like, youth clubs and stuff, and I'd be like, oh, I'm Egyptian, and then people would be like, okay, so you're Muslim, and I'm like, no, why would you think that? I remember literally being a kid, playing on the monkey bars and stuff, and people were just like, oh, but you have to be Muslim because you're Egyptian, and I'm like, but I'm not, bro. Sundays are at church. It was weird. It was weird growing up like that. And even when I went to Catholic school for primary, also, no one knew what Coptic Orthodoxy was. It just kind of felt like I was living a double life. Some places I'm Egyptian and I'm not supposed to be Christian. Some places I'm blending into the Catholic space because my school was Catholic, and like my favorite teacher, she was a proper like little Catholic grandma, and she, you know, was always like made me do Rosary Club with her, and that was lit. Like, no complaints. I love Rosary Club. But yeah, I think I'm just trying to like give you the context of how I was raised being Coptic Orthodox and my experiences. So that's kind of interesting. A lot of memories are like flooding back as I'm just speaking about this now. But yeah, so Sundays were at church and Sunday school. I'm going to say this straight. I was a very rebellious kid. I'm not going to lie. Sunday school, I would just try to do anything to avoid it. I was just wayward. Didn't really take too much notice of it. Like, I would just go in, yeah, Bible stories, yeah, that's great. Auntie, say your stuff, da-da-da-da. And then even at one point, they started taking our phones away from us in Sunday school. I was like, oh my gosh, this is actually prison. Like, what are you actually doing to us? Why are we here? And the time would just drag. And now looking back, I'm like, what an experience I literally chose to completely miss out on. I could have learned so much, and I chose to just be an airhead and just sit there and not take anything in. So I feel like as a child, the only recollection I really have of a relationship with God that I valued was when I was around 12 years old. Something kind of traumatic happened to me and my family, and I remember my dad making me and my 3 siblings stand there and pray. Like, every night together as a family, we'd pray, and a lot of the time our prayers were like, you know, kind of the same prayer. We were praying the same prayer, and it was like lit. I was like, okay, great. So like, you know, we're going through some turbulence now and God is going to save us. And that one prayer we were praying for never happened. And funnily enough, imagine being 13, 14 years old and coming to a conclusion so early in life that God isn't ignoring my prayer. He's resolving it in a way that only he knows is the right way. Because I was asking for something. I was essentially ordering God to do something for me, when in reality, he's the only one who knows best. And he did that for me. So at 13, 14-ish years old, I concluded that everything happens for a reason, and that my prayers don't go unanswered. They are just answered in different ways that I couldn't even fathom, you know? And I think that's beautiful in a sense, because a lot of people could turn the other way and just be like, God doesn't answer my prayers, and he doesn't listen to me, and he doesn't love me, and I know best. But yeah, it's weird. At a very young age, I knew that wasn't the case. But I think because in my life, I knew that my prayers, if they were answered, things could have gone in a different trajectory altogether, and I might have not been as happy. And ultimately, I wouldn't be the person I am today if God had answered that particular prayer in the way that I thought was right. Okay? Moving on. That didn't per se, like, that experience, by the way, didn't necessarily bring me closer to him. It was just something that stuck with me. Fast forward now. Rebellious teenager, rebellious preteen. I'm just like, I'm just here to live my life, you know? Very much of the world. I just want to have fun. I just want to do my thing. And it was lit at that time. But then also, with the context of me going to Sunday school every single day, imagine every single Sunday, and being surrounded by Christian Egyptians, that was okay, but those were literally the only Christian Egyptians I knew. Everything outside of Sunday was a completely different demographic, a completely different experience, especially being raised in West London. Pretty much all my friends were of different Arab descents, different North African descents, and the high majority of them were Muslims. And it was lit. I was being raised around Muslims, Muslim friends, Muslim members of the community. You know, it was great. It was lit, you know, vibes. Even up until sixth form, I went to a sixth form, and I think I was pretty much the only Christian in my sixth form. Maybe me and some other white kid, but especially, you know, I'm Egyptian. That was crazy to them. It was unfathomable to some. And I remember actually having some experiences of like blatant racism, like where people will mock me, not mock me as a person, but obviously now I see it as me as a person, because me and God are one, but like mock my religion in my face, like in group settings, like it's casual, like it's calm, like, oh, Jesus. I'm not even going to say what they used to say because it's insane. It's wild. But it was so normalized. Like, being racist towards me and my religion was so normalized in that school setting, and like no one blinked an eye, and it was okay to mock Christianity. It was okay to laugh and joke about it. And the fact that I was like Egyptian and Christian, it was just a joke to them, right? But again, because I wasn't like aware of the beauty of what I believed in. I was just out here Christian by name. I didn't take it too harshly. Around secondary school, end of secondary school, I lose weight, I become hot, and I start doing things, insane things. Like I just don't want to now. I just want to be out. I just want to be in the streets. I just want to do my own thing. And that's literally what I was doing. And I was living a very worldly life at that point. And I go to sixth form and I'm spending every single waking moment with my best friend. And she, props to her, she is still to this day one of the best people I know. She, ever since we were kids, she is such a devout Muslim. Sorry, I keep on saying was, like she's dead. No, God forbid. Sorry. She is such a devout Muslim, and I always respected her so much as a kid, because as a kid, here's me with my wayward self, like not respecting anything too much, not like devoting myself to anything too much. But this girl at such a young age, praying 5 times a day, just being such a good girl. And to me, it only made sense because she was like that because of her religion. No one was forcing her, not even her family were forcing her to be like this. She was just like this, and I always respected her so much for it. So now it's sixth form, and we're literally in each other's pockets. Like, we're best friends. We'd walk to school together, come home, Cool. She never once influenced me ever to Islam, to conversion, to nothing. Like, she never ever did that. Again, something I respect so highly of her. She always did her thing, and she always kept that out of her and my relationship. Anyways, now I'm again in a space where I'm surrounded by Muslims, and I'm seeing, and again, my school was so heavily populated by Muslims. You know, Friday prayers was such a big thing at my school. It was, to me, it looked like a social event, because I don't know, I think it was at lunchtime, everyone was in the hall doing Friday prayers, and I'm like, what? So I'm not gonna go? Dead. So I would literally go to Friday prayers, guys. I would go to Friday prayers, because also, like, my favorite teacher, Mr. Ali, he was always doing like a talk there. Essentially now man would call that a sermon, but he was always doing a sermon. And again, a lot of the time it wasn't even like, when he was speaking, it wasn't even like Islamic. It wasn't even Islamically associated. Does that make sense? He would just give so much wisdom and guidance and stuff, which I found to be quite, thought-provoking. And also, again, I think it was FOMO. Like, when I deep it, I think it was FOMO, because why is everyone in the gym and I'm not? Let's go. And I like spending time with my friend. Like, I don't know. I just thought it was cool. Like, yeah, go Friday prayers, man. I'll be real. I never, like, connected to the prayers. I sometimes don't think I was even in attendance when the prayers were happening, because it felt a bit disrespectful while everyone's, on their knees praying and bowing. I was just sitting there. So I think when it came to the prayers, a lot of the time I would either step out or I would come in before or after the talk bit. But yeah, I completely forgot that happened. It's like, as I'm talking now, just memories are flooding in. Anyways, here comes the tea. I think a lot of Arab, North African, Christian women, girls can relate to this trope, the forbidden love, the falling for the hot Muslim guy, not that was hot. Okay, cut the cameras. Anyways, of course that happened to me. I'm literally just out of a book sometimes. I'm out of a TV show, really. That's what I'm at. I'm just a piece of EastEnders storyline, aren't I? Yeah, so that happened. And again, this was like first year of sixth form. Starting getting close to a particular person who, again, I'd say he was a lot more influential on me and who he wanted me to be, versus my friend who never tried to change me. Never. She literally loved me for who I was. And again, think about it. Like, when I deep it, this girl actually loved me for the way I was, for who I was. Christian, not Christian, wayward, not wayward. Like, what a blessing to have a friend like that at a time where I was really insane. That girl just, I swear, I say this till now, that girl, yeah, she used to just live through me. She would see me being crazy and she'd be like, come and tell me the stories and let me laugh and giggle till my tummy hurts. And I think that's what made our friendship so great. So anyways, me now, little girl, I'm thinking, yeah, like, you know what? I'm gonna marry this man. We're gonna live happily ever after. This is so embarrassing. Wait, I need another water break. I'm panicking a little bit talking about this, because this is really, like, personal. But I still feel like it's good to share because I feel like this is a very common experience amongst, especially my community. So I think it's worth sharing, you know? And also, ultimately, guys, everything that I have experienced, I live with no regrets because they have made me who I am today. Every single experience. So I'm proud. Proud of Jesus. Sorry, can you hear my dog barking? What a bastard, I'm trying to record, man. Okay, if my dog could stop barking for a minute, like I could continue the story. Okay. Bastard. Is that a rude word? You know, by the way, this is really random, yeah? But you know, I'm like, oh yeah, I don't swear. And then my sister's like, how dare you swear at me? I'm like, I don't swear. What do you mean I swear? Apparently, words like piss off and prick and bastard and asshole. Wait, am I just swearing live right now? Apparently those are swear words, and I know they are, but like I've got levels of profanity, and is that wrong? I think it is. I should write that in my list for confession and speak to my priest about it. Oh my gosh, it is wrong. Wait, I thought I really did something. Just because I don't say the F word, I thought I was some angel. Wings. Okay, sorry. Back to my story. So basically what happened was, love, I thought I was going to marry this man. And obviously we had the conversation. You're Muslim, I'm Christian. How is this going to work? Brother said to me, why don't you check out Islam? Bear in mind, this man was not religious. In the slightest. If you knew what this man was up to, he was not religious in the slightest. But again, he just thought, yeah, why would I change my life or, you know, put my life, you know, in any sort of change or whatever for you when you could just do it for me and make life easier for all of us, you know, men. So I was like, yeah, slay. I was like, listen, why not? Because I have no connection to my religion right now. Like, I am not a practicing Christian at all. I'm just here going with the waves. I literally just go to Sunday school as a social event. And right now, I'm not even tight to my Sunday school friends like that anymore. My tightest people are my Muslim friends from school. So I was like, say less. Like, I'm a, you know, maybe this is the one for me. And I started to look into Islam. And literally, I went as far as, like, you know, watching YouTube videos of, you know, Christians who convert to Islam, reasons to convert to Islam. I'm trying to watch all these videos that are very, like, subjective. I'm trying to just, but nothing's connecting to me. Nothing's making sense to me. And that's weird because you would think a very impressionable young girl at that time, anything is going to make sense to her. But now I look back, I'm like, I just know my Holy Spirit was looking after me so hard. But I had no understanding of that at the time. I just know nothing was coming into my heart at all, or even my brain. It was all just kind of like, I was just like, there. Nothing I would listen to would seep in. And then I even, again, went as far as to just like listening to Quran recitations. And then on my phone, like, especially as I was sleeping, I was like, let me just listen to that, let it come into my heart. But nothing. I felt nothing. And again, you guys know me. I'm a very emotional person and I really run by emotions a lot of the time. I felt nothing, like, emotionally. And I thought that was kind of weird. Like, surely that's a response. That's an answer, sorry. And yeah, after that, I kind of decided, yeah, this is not for me. It's not for me. But I continued this relationship with this so-called person. And actually, I remember why I ended things. My cousin got engaged. And the person who proposed to her at the time did this whole big public proposal, and the family were all in on it. I was in on it. And I looked at that. I remember the day, 7th of Jan, our Christmas, yeah. And I looked at that and I was like, that's what I want. I want my love to be public. I want my love to be within family, within the church. I want to take my children to school every single Sunday. I want my man to have a relationship with my family. But if I go down this path of just converting for the sake of converting, or not even converting, because also I was told the option, you know, you guys know the line, you know, Muslim men can marry Christian girls. Yes, sir, I know that. Thank you. I still get that comment in my TikTok spaces, but that's mad. That's mad. But I didn't want that. Like, I want to take my kids to Sunday school. I want to get married in the church. And I literally remember my companion at the time was working in Tesco's. And okay, when I look back at this now, zero emotional intelligence. My man was working at Tesco's at the time, and I called him. I was like, oh, you're on your break. Can you meet me around the corner? Like, I really need to talk to you. This is urgent. And I basically said to him, listen here, broski, this has got to end. This is not going to work anymore. We can't be together. We can't be friends. Sorry. It's just not going to work, you know? I've tried to understand, you know, your religion. It doesn't work. It doesn't make sense to me. And obviously you're not going to come down the route of Christianity. So it's just not going to work. And I'm really sorry. Your break is over in 5, so you should probably get going. Really weird considering how much I was emotionally invested into that, apparently. And obviously my man was just like, oh, well, why don't you send me a couple Bible verses? You know, you never know. I was like, no. If you're going to find Christ, you got to do that on your own. And if we're meant to be, you'll find your way back to me. But I'm not going to lie, like, I am not in the space of converting anyone, especially where I am religiously right now, and spiritually. So if you want Christ, you seek him yourself, and you let me know how that goes if you want. But it feels a bit, it doesn't feel genuine here. And lo and behold, I have not heard from that man since. Maybe that was the wrong decision. I don't know. Guys, I was like 18. Moving on. I don't know if that was the best way to break up with someone, but yeah, that happened. Weird times. So you would think, right, I've seeked another religion completely, and I found that my heart still lies with Christianity. Surely that's going to bring me closer to God. Surely that's going to be a revelation. I'm a Christian. Preach Jesus. No. I continued with the world. I know I didn't want to be Muslim, but I also knew I didn't want to submit myself to Christ. I also knew that I just still wanted to be of the world and wayward and keep doing my thing because, listen, I still haven't felt that connection to Christianity yet. I still haven't felt that connection to God necessarily, but I know I'm with him. You know, I know that's where my heart truly lies. It was weird. Just try to understand. Somehow I forgot to mention this, right, guys? But when I was 18, randomly, I'm in church, right? And I hear that there was an opportunity to go to Kenya for 2 weeks and do like a missionary trip. A missionary trip is like basically where you go with your church and you like help the community there. You pray for them. You build huts or something. I don't know. I never did that. I did a different thing where I was going around to different houses and praying for people. And it was like such a random filler episode for me because I actually did that. I just had money to spare and I thought, why not go to Kenya? It's lit. Cool. And I did. I went to Kenya for about a week and a half because I went there a little bit later than everyone else. And it was so spiritually healing. It was so good. It was beautiful. I felt renewed. I felt like I was again walking on water. But I think that experience expired about a week and a half after I came back to the UK. And that's probably because, again, when I came back from Kenya, I fell back into my old habits because I had a group of friends that were very much of the world as well. Can you really be on a spiritual path when you're out here doing balloons and shisha in underage cafes? Like, you know, that's obviously not going to keep me pure and holy. Oh, there's a bird. So yeah, my time in Kenya was incredible and beautiful, but it was really short-lived. I'll be so honest with you, which is just really shameful to me. But God willing, another missionary trip comes up soon and I can go there, and this time my spiritual vibes that were like beaming off of me can kind of last longer than a week and a half because that was kind of embarrassing. My cousin still laughs at me about this till now. He's just like, oh, where's Kenya Chrissy gone? Is she back yet? Because we've been waiting. And I'm like, oh, okay then. So I continue. Life is going on. Fast forward. Things in my life are just so chaotic all the time, like continuous turbulence, with family, with friends, with life, with situations. And a relationship with God from like 18 to 22 was kind of like hot and cold. Whenever I really needed his help, I would seek him out. But the second I kind of felt okay, I would leave him completely and I'd go back to the world and everything it offered me. And then COVID hit and it's like, whoa, no church obligations, slay. Do you think I attended one online service? No. I think post 2020, I think the only time I was really going to church was probably Easters and Christmases with my family, and that was just more out of tradition once the churches opened up. But yeah, let's fast forward to 2022. End of 2022, I have a very chaotic, some would say traumatic Christmas, and I'm just defeated at this point. I'm like, I keep on holding these insanely high expectations of human beings who will never fulfill me. They will never live up to my expectations. And I keep on doing this. It's the definition of insanity. I keep on doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting different outcomes. And it's not working. And I remember feeling so defeated in Starbucks. Boycott Starbucks. But at the time I was in Starbucks all of the time because I was working on my undergrad, and I just went there to study and stuff. And I remember just deciding in that moment, like, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this anymore by myself. God, I give it all up to you. And that's exactly what I did. It was a very solo journey. I began going back to liturgy now every Sunday. And the closest church to me at that time, because I was living in Kent, was a church in Croydon. So that was about like a 50-minute drive in the morning. And I would do that, and like, it was okay. I met some lovely girls from the Croydon church, but even then, like, even though I met some really lovely people, I had no need, no want whatsoever to stay in church and socialize and, you know, build friendships and form like fellowship. I didn't want that. I just wanted to go into liturgy and run out as soon as the mass was over. I just wanted to be out on my way to Starbucks. Oh my gosh, I spent so much time there. Evil! I just wanted to go run to Starbucks and finish working on my dissertation, on my essays, on my whatever. So yeah, no fellowship, no vibes, just liturgy, just focusing on prayer. Even my Bible reading wasn't too tough at that time. Like, I never really connected with the word too tough. Like, it was only until like I met this guy at this youth retreat. Not this guy, he's actually my friend. And we spoke, and he the passion he had about the Bible was insane. And I was like, oh, it really be like that? And he was like, bro, if you just read a verse a day, that is more than enough. You know, compared to like not reading at all. He's like, if you start with a verse a day, it will do something to you. And Lord have mercy, he was so right. If you guys go into the Bible app and you just change your settings to give you the verse of the day every single day, and you read that every single day, it will transform you. It will encourage you to be like, oh, well, why don't I read this whole chapter? You know? He also gave me a Lord forgive me, a Bible study journal. And for me, I'm a very, like, I love to make notes. I love to write things down. I feel like if I don't write it down, then it never happened. So that really helped me. I'd read a chapter a day and, you know, I'd write about it. And whatever I didn't understand, you know, Google is free. I literally would go in onto Google and I'd be like, okay, Genesis chapter 31 explained. And either you could read about it, you could watch a YouTube video about it. And that really helped me. I'm just going to quickly plug in the acronym SOAP: Scripture, Observation, Application, and Prayer. That really helped me, again, break down the chapter and really study my Bible, which I really enjoyed. Okay, so now comes like the end of 2023. And by the way, there wasn't one time that I prayed for fellowship. There wasn't one time that I prayed to have friends at the church. There wasn't one prayer that I made. And that's how you know God knows you better than yourself. God be answering prayers you ain't never even said before. Like, he be answering prayers that you haven't even thought of, if that makes sense. Remember those Croydon girls that I told you about? So one of them actually recommended that I start doing confession with a priest from my home church, funnily enough. And my home church is St. Mark's in London. And I was like, oh, I don't know, confession is really scary. I haven't done confession since I was 10. And like, the last time I did confession, I thought I was walking on air. Like, I really thought I could have the power to heal people. That's how cleansed and sinless I felt for about 10 minutes. So I was like, I don't know, confession is mad. But she sold him to me. And I was like, okay, Miss Girl, let's go check it out. Father Anthony, love that guy. Big shout out. Plug him. Oh, by the way, I get commission for everyone who goes to confession. So make sure you know. I'm joking. I don't get commission. We do not sell our priests. Okay? So I get his number, Father Anthony. I'm like, hey, I need to do confession. Want to help a girl out? He was like, hell yeah. He was like, sorry. No, he didn't. He didn't say that. He said, heaven yeah. Sorry, that was so dead. I meet him, and obviously the first meeting. I'm just introducing myself. He wants to know about my life. So obviously tears. It was very emotional, but it was so good. It was so good. He made me feel so safe. It was incredible. It was such a good healing experience, and we started to do it on like a very regular basis. I think we were doing at that point confession once a month, because not only am I out here giving him all my burdens, all my sins, and he's obviously praying for my absolution, and God is cleansing me of my sins, but it was very therapeutic. And essentially, it's in the name. He's a spiritual father. Like, so he's guiding me spiritually, and he's helping me, and we're getting through things together, and it was incredible, right? One day I'm in confession, and I'm like to my father, confession, I'm like, Abuna means my father. You know, like, I feel like I'm ready to be in a relationship. Like, I feel like I'm ready to find my man of God and, you know, be someone's wifey. He looked at me and he said two things. He said, okay, so you want a man of God, yeah? Are you the woman of God that man of God deserves? Sorry. Was I silent or was I silenced? Yeah, Abuna Anthony be dropping bars sometime. Bars. Second thing he said to me was, okay, so you want to find a man from church, yeah? I said, yes, sir. He said, what do you do socially in this church? Because I ain't never seen you at a youth meeting. And I know that we run a whole Sunday youth meeting after the liturgy. Free food, free vibes, free spiritual advice. Do you go there? Do you meet anyone there? I said, no, sir, I don't. And he's like, okay, cool. That's all I'm going to say. Obviously, he's not telling me, oh, you're going to find your man there. Even though at the time, that's what I thought he said. But what he was saying was like, if you want to meet men who go to church, you need to go to church in those spaces. Like, just going to liturgy, I'm not going to lie, it'd be kind of creepy if you just went to liturgy and a guy just pulled you out of, you know, mass and said, hey, I want to date you. I mean, I like that masculine energy, but sadly, I haven't found that yet. Sorry, that's wild. Or is it? I'm gonna leave that there. Yeah, so I said, okay, sir. The next Sunday, I brought myself to this youth meeting, and let's just say it was interesting, to say the least. I'm not going to talk about why, but if you know, you know. It was really nice. I really liked the community my church had become. I really liked the fact that it was no longer just a bunch of Arabs, like a bunch of Egyptians. There were different people from different cultures, different backgrounds. Some of them weren't even Christian. Like, there were literally people in this youth meeting at church who weren't even Christians. They weren't even baptized, but they were still here to be fed spiritually. And I thought, this is actually really lit. Me and my sister, we started going every single Sunday. And yeah, it was lit. And again, the church, the community, it just kept on developing. We had an amazing church father be ordained, who was an incredible servant for the church. Plug my father David. Father David. Love that guy as well. He was ordained, and he just rocketed into our lives for the youth, and he does so much for us to make us feel welcome, to make us feel wanted in the church, to keep us in the church. And that's a beautiful segue into what I'm about to tell you next. So many things started coming up now where the church was doing so many things with youth to keep us in church. And one day I recorded this TikTok. I was recording our movie night at the time, and the caption was like, go to a church where they do everything in their power to keep you in church, something like that. And that went insanely, and that went really viral. And yeah, that was kind of, I guess, a calling, if you want to say, where now I became someone who, you know, the spotlight was kind of on me to now start promoting our church. Not even that anyone asked me to do it, but I felt obligated to do it, if that makes sense. And I still do till now, because now my TikTok page is somewhere that comes across for people who may have been seeking fellowship, may have been seeking a church, may have been seeking community, and even Christ himself. And when one of my videos comes up and people relate to that, and people feel like they can speak to me about it, people feel like they can come to church by themselves, what an incredible blessing. Like, the fact that I can just be what's the word I'm looking for? A stepping stone in someone's like spiritual journey, someone's spiritual ladder towards Jesus. Like, I just think that is incredible. And I think sometimes I don't realize the magnitude of the gift that God has given me, which I'm not saying posting TikToks is a gift. I think it's just the fact that, by the way, anyone can do this, but the fact that I do it is kind of a gift in a way. I don't know. Content creating, I think, can be very much a gift, and I do love content creating, and I really enjoy it. So maybe that's the gift. I'm not too sure. I feel like it gave me purpose, and I'm just feeling so much more confident. I'm now introducing myself to people. You know, when I see a fresh face in church, I'm like, oh, hey, how are you? Or people come up to me and they'll be like, oh my gosh, are you Chrissy from TikTok? I'm like, yeah, I am. And then we're talking, conversations. So like, I just feel, so my social anxiety is just kind of slowly disappearing. I have so many amazing friendships within my church. I have friendships not only with the youth, but with like the servants and even with my spiritual fathers. Like, I love my priests so much. Like, they are just such incredible people, and they're just, I love listening to them, speaking to them. I think I'm just so incredibly blessed to have the access that I do to a church like that, you know. And yeah, and like I said, my TikTok as well, I feel like that has been able to grow fellowship as well, because I feel like there's like a little mini community within my little TikTok space of people who know my content, they know me, and they interact and they appreciate, and they, you know, there's that. I've also got like, you know, this little group chat called Christ-centered, which also, again, I just wanted to offer a space for people of any denomination, any religion, even any background, any age, any race, whatever it was. Even if you don't want to come to a Coptic Orthodox church, that's completely okay and valid and fine. But I wanted to offer, because basically I was thinking, wow, I am so blessed to have fellowship and community. And I feel like not enough people have that with Christ in the center. Does that make sense? So like, do you know what? Summer's coming up. What if I can offer people a space that they can, at the very least, send Bible verses to each other? You know, if anyone's having any issues and they need prayer requests, we can have a group chat just for that. And hey, if we can somehow get to a place where we can start meeting up, you know, it's just the logistics of it all. It's so hard. Then yeah, that would be incredible. That would be great. I just want to bring people together in the name of Christ. So I opened a space called Christ-centered, a WhatsApp group. And right now we've got about 45 members. And yeah, it's really sweet. It's really cute. You know, people put in their prayer requests and we pray for each other. And it's just so beautiful. You know, we send Bible verses to each other. We've met up a couple times. And yeah, it's just been really nice. Final thing I want to talk about. I know this has been a really long episode, so thank you for watching. But I think the last thing I want to talk about is why I feel like fellowship is really important. Having a church is really important. It's because I think when I was walking with God alone, I wasn't really doing confession. I didn't have any Christian friends to hold me accountable. It's going to sound crazy. I'm not saying I'm a role model now, but I am very much a person who I care about what people think. Not because I care about what you think of me as a person. I care about what you think of him when you see me. So if I'm out here on TikTok talking about modesty, this, that, oh yeah, Jesus Christ, oh yeah, whoop, whoop, I really can't be in spaces that kind of compromise his image, if that makes sense. I'm not perfect. I'm the farthest thing from perfect. Okay, hear me out. I'm no one's role model. Do not look at me and think I'm just trying to be like her. No. It's more of a case where I feel responsibility for the way that people view him, and I try where I can to avoid discrediting or dismantling his image. Again, I am a faulted, broken human being. I can never perfect his image. That's not what I'm saying. But I think it's good that we try, because we have the capacity for it. I try to not be in really crazy wild spaces. Guys, I didn't go carnival this year. And if you ask me, that's some real personal development. That's some real growth, because carnival was my spot. Year in, year out. I would literally plan my carnival outfits like from January. Do you get me? Like, I'd find a really cute crop top and I'd be like, okay, that's gonna be my carny fit. I didn't go this year. And I felt quite content in my decision making. The only time I thought, darn it, I should have gone, was when I started seeing them TikToks of them and then people who were recording the hot guys at carnival. And I was like, I forgot hot guys existed. But boy, did they come together for carnival. Lord. Sorry. Inappropriate. I'm sorry. Too far. Yeah. So Swearing is a big thing. I'm really trying to cut down on the swearing because I'm just like, girl, you're a child of God. Like, you need to, be classy, be demure. Yeah. So again, I'm not perfect. You probably will see me out here, like, doing things that maybe you might not perceive and maybe are not, picture daughter of God. Sorry, I don't know why I did that. Picture daughter of God things. I get that. Cool. Like, still, dabble in secular music and stuff, and, do love to, do a little boogie at a little Arabian night. But, it's a journey, guys. It's a journey. Hearing different testimonies, hearing different perspectives and POVs from people who are kind of yoked in the same way as you. It's incredible. It's beautiful. They hold you accountable. You hold them accountable. Like, even just swapping stories about, did you do this? Did you have confession? Did you not have confession? Do you need, should we do a collective Bible study together? Should we pray together? What does Christ say about, like, coming together? Those prayers, when you come together, like, they are huge. They are huge. When people come together in one space to pray together, to praise together, like, that is incredible, and it's such a blessing. And for me, it has transformed me. It has. And again, when I look back at when I was doing my solo walk with God versus my, collective walk with God now, with a family and a fellowship that backs me and protects me and picks me back up when I fall, I was still doing so many insane things when I was solo, because I had no one to lean back on. I had no one to offer me advice. I had no one that I had to try and, care for, if that makes sense. But now I feel like I do care for people. I care for my brothers and sisters. I want to also, like, to an extent, be a good role model to them, to an extent, be someone that they can rely on. The same way that I can rely on so many people in church if I need spiritual guidance. I also want to be that to someone. I want to be that to the younger kids in church. I want them to be able to look up to me and be like, Auntie Chrissy, help, I'm joking. I just really, and like when I pray, I'm like, God, please today, let me be a vessel, today and every day. Let me be a vessel of your light. And that's ultimately what comes down to, guys. Like, you should really be praying to be a vessel of his light. And ultimately that will transform you from the inside out. And is there a better person that's ever existed on the face of the earth than Jesus Christ himself? There literally isn't. And if you go about your day trying to reflect him and his light, you would be such a lit person. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you would actually be insanely cool, I think. So yeah, I feel like I've yapped a lot, but I feel like it was really good. Not because of me or any sort of wisdom that I can offer, because I offer none. I really think in these times and spaces, the Holy Spirit really do be speaking through me. Because I think he wants to touch your heart. He wants you to know that he wants you. He's just waiting for your invitation. Our God is a gentleman. He is so polite. Like I said, a gentleman. He waits outside the door for you to open for him. He doesn't barge down the door. He doesn't force himself in. He's your good father. He's your shepherd. He will leave the 99 to come and find you. And you literally just need to say, God the Father, Christ Jesus, Holy Spirit, I open my heart to you. And that is it. He will heal you. He will be your father. He will be your good shepherd, and he will heal you. And that's literally the truth of it. That's the fact of it. There is no messing about when it comes to it. Okay. Anyways, guys, like I said, I have chewed your ear off, and I think it's time to wrap up this episode. It's been a longie, but a goodie. And I do hope it's touched your heart. And if you have any more questions for me, please leave them in the comments, either on Spotify or on YouTube, wherever you are accessing this. I've actually had a blast. I love talking about two topics. God, of course, my relationship with him, everything to do with him, and myself. Those are two very interesting topics, and they just came hand in hand today. If you did enjoy this video, please make sure you like, make sure you follow, make sure you subscribe. And again, comment what you want to see next, or if you have any questions, just leave them for me. Follow on my Instagram account. It's whatdidshesay_by_CGO, and my TikTok accounts are, I'll plug my Christian one first because, that makes sense. It's just CGO, CGEOO. I needed to do 3 O's because 2 O's got deleted, that account, because I posted some crazy things there. I'm not going to get into that. And my other account, which is more just like day in the life type of stuff, a bit more cultural things, that is more.of.cgeoo. 3 O's again. So yeah, those are my credentials. If you would like any more information about the churches that I attend, please let me know, and I will again answer you in the comments. I think that's pretty much it. Please stay tuned for next Tuesday to find out, what did she say?